Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening and welcome to the Hangout with Harsha. It's we're back for the second time by popular demand. We had this last time a couple of weeks back. It was a roaring success. A lot of you had the chance to speak with Harsha, share your insights about the Champions Trophy, and a lot of great questions. So we're back again for the second time. And I mean, of course, now we've got the big game coming up. We've got India versus Pakistan. We've got the epic clash. It doesn't really get bigger than this. It's a game that comes once in a blue moon. It's it's a clash of the titans, and we're here to discuss it and have a hangout on it. And we're here to have a hangout on it with a man who's probably got the most sound opinion on cricket that is possible. So without further ado, welcome a very warm welcome to Harsha, and thanks a lot for joining us. I think everybody's sort of ready to go and get your opinion on the game.
I don't want to be a bit of a dampener, guys, but just remember it's a cricket match eventually. Yeah, it's one set of players playing against another set of players, and the better team will win. Eventually it's a cricket match. So if we accept it's a cricket match, we'll all have a lot of fun.
No worries on that. Yeah.
It's India versus Pakistan. So I don't know how many of you think it's a cricket match, and how many of you think it's it's a little more than that. So we're gonna quickly take the questions and Harsha, get everybody on the hangout to get their chance to sort of ask their questions to you. So we're going to begin with Vishal Mehra, and Vishal has his first question for you. So Vishal, you wanna shoot?
Yeah.
Come on.
Hi Harsha. Hi Harsha. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
My question is not related to the India-Pakistan match. My question is slightly more important, I think, and more serious. I know we've been performing well over the past 3-4 matches in the Champions Trophy. But I don't think we should forget the mark which was left behind in India. Ideally, we would like, let's say, players of the caliber of Ganguly and Dravid to be involved in the administration side of the BCCI. I know Ganguly was involved in some capacity. Players like Kumble as well. But I was slightly disappointed by Kumble's silence on the whole issue because probably because of his allegiance to the Karnataka Cricket Association. So I just want your views on that, and what do you think? Should players like Dravid and Ganguly, whether they should be involved in BCCI, and as per your dealings with them, your communication, your interaction with them, are they interested to do that job?
Listen, I hope my answer is as long as your question, but we'll give it a go. First thing is, most bloggers and people on Twitter want people they're writing to give them the answers that they want to hear, and that if their point of view doesn't match the questioners, then they think it's a cop-out, it's a sellout. I've had many of those addressed to me myself. Each person's got his own reasons for saying what they do and what they don't. Maybe, for example, in 99-2000, when the whole match fixing happened, I did not know what the evidence was. And unfortunately, in India, needing evidence before having a point of view is getting a little old-fashioned. It's getting a little outdated, almost a little irrelevant. So some people would probably want to be sure. Judge already threw out. You've got to be careful, when you've got a lot of followers, when you're on a respectable forum, you've got to be careful of being absolutely correct with your views. Sure. About players being in administration, in certain aspects of administration, yes. But in general, men of integrity, whether you're a company like Castrol, whether you're a company like Google, whether you're a company like BCCI, men of integrity should always be welcome. But I don't always agree that because you're a cricketer, you must necessarily be in administration. It's completely different. You must have different skills. Some cricketers might have it, some might not. So, yeah, maybe I'd love to hear what Anil's point of view is myself. Maybe I'll ask him when I meet him in private.
Okay. All right, great. So Vishal, I hope that answers your question.
But one final thing, Vishal, but we have to keep it alive, and I'm glad you brought it up. We have to keep it alive. We cannot let the performance of the Indian team mask the fact that there is another side to what is happening. So we cannot let that get buried. So we have to keep raising that, and I hope we keep doing that.
Sure. Harsha, who do you think, by the way, is a better commentator between Dravid and Ganguly?
No, they're different personalities, and that different personalities come through on commentary as well. Rahul is very measured. He's a nice guy. But I was very happy to see him being very forthright in commentary as well. Saurav Ganguly speaks his mind and comes to Saurav is even in the commentary box. Saurav is like the captain on a cricket field, which is what you want from him. And I'm expecting both of them to contribute enormously to commentary. So far, Saurav is a little more experienced. Rahul is feeling his way around, so there's a little gap at the moment. But once Rahul gets experienced enough, I don't think there'll be much to choose.
Thank you very much for
Okay.
your answers, Harsha. Appreciate it.
No worries,
Okay,
man. Just
great.
on the hangout.
Thanks, Risha. We'll come back to you if we have the time. Asha, I'm going to pull in one question from Twitter. And there's Udit Oberoi asking a question. At the rate, Udit Oberoi asking a question on Twitter. He says it's going to be a low-scoring game, or he thinks it's going to be a low-scoring game because most of the matches have been low-scoring. So, what's a good strategy on winning the toss? Should the team winning the toss bat first or bowl first?
I don't know if it's going to be a low-scoring game because India have tended to play slightly higher-scoring games too. India's batting has been excellent, but I think there's one other factor. Normally, India like to chase. People like Kohli and Dhoni and the others are some of the best chasers in the game. They like to chase, but I think against Pakistan, they might actually want to bat first because Pakistan's record chasing is abysmal. It really is terrible. So India might want Pakistan to chase. One other thing, a low-scoring game favors Pakistan. A high-scoring game favors India because Pakistan's batting has not exactly been outstanding. Their bowling is brilliant. So any cricket match that strengthens the bowling aspect and renders the batting a little irrelevant will favor Pakistan. Anything that helps batting will favor us. So if it's a nice day, flattish deck, it'll be good for us. But if the track is doing something, then while their bowlers will become even better, I don't know if Pakistan's batsmen will be able to score as many runs. Good music in the background, guys.
Okay, so while you spoke about the team, I'm just going to pull in another question from Twitter before I go to Deep actually, and this is Astha. Astha on Twitter, she's asking, you spoke about the weaknesses of the Indian cricket team, and she's asking what does the Indian team lack right now at the moment? They've done well, they've got a very good batting attack. They've done bowling has done reasonably well. And fielding's been super sharp. So what do you think the Indian team lacks right now?
And the two spinners are bowling really well, and both spinners bat. So that gives a tremendous balance to the side. I think India's lacking one genuine, classy, world-class fast bowler. We think Umesh Yadav might get there, but he's work in progress. We don't know if Ishant Sharma will get there. He's had a lot of experience. He bowls well in one game. He's a little iffy at times. And Bhuvneshwar Kumar is a little inexperienced. So hopefully one of those three will become that bowler that we're looking for. So that really is what we're looking for.
Okay, great. I'm going to go over to Deep now, Deep Ved, and he's got a question for you. So Deep, if you can sort of shoot your question to Harsha, he's all ready to take it.
Hi, Deep.
Hi, good evening. Harsha here. I just wanted to ask you one question. Why is it so that India lacks in producing quality fast bowlers like Waqar, Wasim, Steyn, Morkel? We haven't seen a good quality fast ball in last 8 to 10 years.
No, I think you're forgetting one name, Zahir Khan.
I agree. There was Zahir Khan. We had Srinath Prasad. Everybody was there. Right now we have Bhuvneshwar Kumar. But as you see in other teams, Steyn, Morkel, Magra, Waqar, Wasim, they last for at least 10 to 15 years, whereas our bowlers doesn't last for 10 to 15 months.
You'd make a great commentator shooting straight from the hip.
Sorry?
You'd make a great commentator shooting straight from the hip. Our fast bowlers don't last 12 to 15 months. But I think Zahir. I think Zahir was a bowler who was admired all over the world. I wouldn't be surprised if his fitness is back. If he goes to South Africa, if he can squeeze a year, 2 years more out of Zahir Khan, that'd be brilliant for our cricket. While Bhuvneshwar and Umesh Yadav are developing, but there is a deeper reason.
Yeah.
I meet friends from Pakistan and they say, "यार थोड़े batsmen भेज देते हैं हमारे यहाँ," and we say, "चलो barter कर लेते हैं यार, आप दो bowler भेज दो हमारे यहाँ." But there is a culture there.
आप bowler भेज दो.
Ramesh keeps telling me that if a bowler bowls 135, he doesn't get to bowl in the net. खड़े रहे यार वहाँ पे. Whereas it's the coaches at the 18, 20, 21 age group that are crucial. We have very good batting coaches. So if there's a 16, 17-year-old kid who can bat well, we know how to make him a better batsman. If we get a fast bowler, we tend to make him a line and length bowler and kill his pace. we don't know how to develop fast bowlers, and that's not yet in our DNA. So I'm hoping that people like Umesh Yadav and the others stay around for a while and get young kids wanting to bowl fast. Most of our fast bowlers drop pace too quickly. So yes, it's an issue, but you don't have to be express. It helps. But if you can get consistently bowlers bowling 135 and swinging the ball, that's still all right. But anybody who has 145 makes a huge difference with the attack.
See,
So I think it's
Harsha,
not
even I.
So,
Yeah,
so Deep, hope you
even-
answer the question. So, yeah, sorry, you got something to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, Harsha, when I played cricket till state level and I played for MC and stuff, the thing was, out of 10 people coming for the selection, 10 students coming for the selection, or 20 students coming from the selection, hardly one or two guys were there who wanted to become a fast bowler. Others were like, मेरे को Tendulkar बनना है. I want to become a Ganguly. But nobody says I want to become Javagal
Exactly.
Srinath or I want to become
Exactly.
a Venkatesh Prasad.
We are a batting country and our heroes are all batsmen. We look at the lifestyles of our batsmen. We look at the glory of the batsman. Everyone wants to become a batsman. In fact, it's not a bad time
Yeah.
to be a bowler and show some batsmen where you know how they can be pushed onto the back foot. But to be a fast bowler is a very difficult job. You're never too far away from injuries. You're playing on flat pitches. You've got to have a really big heart. You've got to be a special person to want to bowl fast because the human body is not constructed to bowl fast. And so
Okay.
you need the pitches, you need bounce, you need the fast bowlers to strut around on the streets and say, you know what, I'll put the fear of God into all these batsmen. So till we have wickets like that, till we glorify fast bowlers, we'll struggle. But let's see. I like Umesh Yadav.
Okay, great. Hope that answers the question, Deep.
Yeah. Harsha, just one last thing.
Deep, we'll come back
sorry.
to you. Deep, we'll come back
Yeah,
to
sure,
you.
no issues.
Okay,
Sure, no issues.
awesome. So,
Thanks,
Harsha, there's
Harsha.
one.
Very, very well-mannered forum, this.
So, Harsha, there's another interesting question coming in from Twitter, and this is about history. So, in World Cup cricket, India's got a spotless record against Pakistan. When it comes to the Champions Trophy, it's Pakistan who leads 2-up. 2 games played, both of them won by Pakistan. So, how much does history really matter in a game like this? And how much does it play on the minds of the players, the team, the management, and the fans?
It shouldn't. I think in a World Cup game, it would, not in a Champions Trophy. In a World Cup game, Pakistan would be taking the field thinking, "Ala, ye acha nahi lagta. We have to change this record." So in a World Cup game, because everything that's built up around a World Cup, probably a little more. But in a Champions Trophy, no. Champions Trophy there's not enough games in the history of the Champions Trophy to build that kind of conclusion. So I don't think India will be thinking about that. I think India will be thinking, last time we played, we lost the series 2-1. So they won't worry about Champions Trophies. Look at more recent history.
And a lot of people are saying that it's India's already through to the next round. So probably the hunger to win isn't there. There's a sense of complacency. Do you think so? Given that it's an India-Pakistan game, do you think so?
If a player playing for his country in a big match is not hungry and is complacent, then he should meet a good travel agent. You can have a very good early return ticket available. If somebody is complacent and not hungry about playing for his country, then it's easiest thing to do is give him a return ticket and say, "Thank you very much. Do you want to do a CA?"
Absolutely. Great. We're going to move on to the next question now. We've got Kishan Jot, and Kishan Jot has got a question for you. So we're going to let him shoot away.
Hi Asha.
Hi Kishan. Now, for Kishan, first of all, tell me who's sitting next to you.
She's my sister. She's your big fan.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm your big fan.
Thank you.
You are the best cricket commentator.
Yeah, but you'll say that if Rami's on the hangout as well, no? So it's okay.
Hi Asha. Just wanted to ask you,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
the secret of being a good commentator like you?
I don't know, being born in the right era, maybe. When I started doing cricket, there were no cricketers around. There's a completely mistaken theory that only cricketers can make good commentators, but that's the current fad. So we'll stay with that. I think you must enjoy your game, but you must also love the language. You must love people. You must get excited by a cover drive. You must have the vocabulary to describe it. You must enjoy the game. You must get up every morning thinking, "Wow." And some of us are very happy to be able to do that. But knowing the language is critical. Whether it's English or Hindi or Marathi or Punjabi, it doesn't matter. But knowing the language is critical.
Which books did you read to get the cricketing knowledge?
Now I not many. I read cricket books because I was interested in cricket, but it comes down to our education system. We still believe that learning comes only from mugging textbooks. No, just go and watch cricket, enjoy it, talk to people, write about it. It's a democratic society now. Write a blog. See if your thoughts, if people like your thoughts. There's a time when you had to get published in a newspaper. You don't have to do that anymore. So don't worry too much about reading books and learning. If you have to read books and learn to become a commentator, then you're starting wrong.
Okay. My sister wants to talk to you. She's your huge fan.
I
What's your
admire
name?
you a lot. I'm Jaspreet.
Jaspreet, hi.
Jaspreet. Yes, hi. I admire you a lot. You are seriously the best. And
Thank
I'm
you.
feeling so great to talk to you. I'm a big fan.
I wish I wasn't wearing a white shirt. It shows up all the colors.
You are
Thanks.
awesome.
Thank you very much. Keep
Thank you.
raise your bar. Keep your ambitions higher.
Thank you
That's
so much.
that's this. You can't get a more humble man than this. Huh? He says he's got a man. He's got someone saying that I'm your biggest fan, and the man says raise your bar a little higher. So that's that's kudos to Harsha. Harsha, next question comes.
Listen, we just go to cricket grounds and tell people what happens, man. Real stars in India, the people who don't want to become stars.
That's true. Okay, Harsha, next question is coming from Kuthara91. He says, is India peaking too early in the tournament? What do you think? Have they
Yeah,
peaked
just
too
hang
early?
on. Just hang on, Ashil. I think we're taking a little time out on this. Just hang on. Someone's driving dinky cars around. Okay, we're back.
Special thanks to Harsha.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, so I'm just going to repeat that question, Harsha. It's Kuthara91 says, is India peaking too early in the tournament? What do you think?
No, it's a small tournament. I can understand peaking early if you're in an IPL kind of tournament, which runs over 7.5 weeks. You've got to play a lot of matches. Even in Wimbledon, for example, you've got to play 8 matches, and you want to build up there. India played 2 matches. It's a 5-game tournament. To win it, you've got to play 5. So I don't think you need to build up. This is more like a 400-meter race, not like a 5,000 or 10,000 meter race. Here you've got to lead from the front. That's all right. Because, for example, India are already, in a sense, in the semi-final, though there's a game left, and some batsmen have only got a few balls in. So I don't think I'm not worried about that at all.
Okay, I'm gonna go over to Anand and
Anand, yeah?
let Anand Natarajan ask you the next question.
Hi, Anand.
Harsha, last time I logged in from Hyderabad, I spoke to you in Telugu.
బాగుందండి
బాగున్నారా సార్?
బాగున్నాండి. అదేంటి నేను ఎప్పుడు ఇక్కడ వస్తే అందరు తెలుగులోనే మాట్లాడతానేంటి?
అలా కాదు సార్, నేను ఒక్కటే మాట్లాడుతున్నాను కదా. కానీ నా ఫస్ట్ ప్రశ్నము, does Harsha Bhogli also know Tamil?
Unfortunately, no. As a child, I once went to Chennai, Madras as it was called, and I was told that most people there understand Telugu. So I just said Telugu Teriyama, and they would say yes, and I'd get by with Telugu. So no, I don't understand Tamil at all.
Okay, then let me start with one word in Tamil which I'm sure you will also understand.
I hope so.
Vanakkam Harsha.
Yes, I've heard comedians use that, and I don't like that at all. So Vanakkam is fine.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Harsha, my question to you is about the Indian batting.
Yeah.
I mean, about a week ago, we were all in this major worry as to what will we do against the moving, seeming, bouncing ball in England, given our record during the last visit that we did to England. And all of a sudden, I mean, 300 is taken for granted every time India bats. I mean, we take it for granted today. And it has taken only 2 matches to do it. What's changed? Pitches, weather, what?
2-3 things have changed. The first is that the white ball isn't swinging at all. I was among those who was a little concerned about the effect of the two white balls, cloudy environment, the ball will swing around a lot. It has been cloudy, it has been cold, but the pitches have been dry for some reason. Because the pitches have been dry, they've actually helped the slow bowlers. But more than anything else, the white ball hasn't swung at all. I don't know if you saw even yesterday's game, where England were playing Sri Lanka, and even someone like Jimmy Anderson, who's probably the best swing bowler in the world today, was bowling straight lines. And straight lines becomes much easier for the batsman. If it stops just a little bit, that's even nicer because our batsmen are used to those conditions. So everything is geared towards reverse swing. And if there's no reverse either, and yesterday the ball was changed, and so there was no reverse either. So the ball isn't doing very much, and so our batsmen are enjoying themselves. I mean, to be fair, our batsmen are very skilled. They're probably the best batting side in the world at the moment in these conditions. But because the ball is not swinging, it's looking a bit like that.
I have two follow-up questions, Harsha, and I'll make it very fast. One, is it the turnaround of the Indian batting unit in conditions abroad, or is it too early? Is it a false dawn?
Too early, Anand. Too early. We go to South Africa later this year. If Rohit and Shikhar and Dinesh Karthik and Virat and all can score runs there, then I'll look ahead. It's full of promise, but I wouldn't draw that conclusion just yet.
The other point that I wanted to ask you was, do you think or do you expect Mahendra Singh Dhoni to do with Rohit Sharma what Dada Ganguly did with Virendra Sehwag, make him opening batsman in a test match?
I don't know what the thinking within the side is, but certainly he's shown that he has the ability. One of the advantages with Rohit Sharma is that he doesn't have a problem with pace. Pace and bounce don't bother him. These are things that have bothered Indian batsmen in the past. Some Indian batsmen, not all. But he's comfortable with pace and bounce. So the word is that Duncan Fletcher wants him to open the batting. He's certainly looking all right. And in limited overs cricket, I think it's fair to say that he's here to stay. But I'm not sure in the longer version. But Dhawan and Rohit Sharma, gee, that's an exciting opening combination to have.
Okay, thanks, Anand.
Small question only.
Sure.
Yeah, Harsha, this is regarding our hometown favorite Pullela Gopi Chand. I mean, he has set an academy where he's able to produce champions or soon to become champions like a assembly line. What is this great thing about this person and this academy?
I think there are some there's some fundamental qualities that sports demands of people. Determination is one of those, humility is one of those, discipline is one of those. Unfortunately, we live in India in a society where things like discipline are looked down upon. But I think he demands that. He places a very high emphasis on fitness. And if you have the talent, then when talent merges with all that, it's okay. So I think he's demanding, and he makes people work hard. And that, as you know, that never killed anyone. That's what I see from the outside. When I meet him next, I'll ask him that.
Thank you very much, Harsha. I hope I can ask one more question in the second round. Thank you.
Mari Kalasam.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thanks, Anand. Okay, we're going to move on to Aditya next. Aditya, we've got your question. Let's hear it for Harsha.
Hi Harsha, this is Aditya here. I'm also from Hyderabad. So I
like the R in the forward short leg, or is that a spelling mistake?
That's a typo, I guess. I will just add it.
Doesn't matter. Okay. We'll do the question first. Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, like, we are playing on the ground which England and New Zealand played recently, and they only bowled 30 overs of spin. So I was wondering whether we can drop a fast bowler and play Amit Mishra and take a chance. Like, as it's a dead rubber, why not give him a chance? If that works out well, you never know. Like, for the semi-finals,
I think they look at the conditions in the morning. If it's damp and moist and over and rain, they might play the extra seamer. But I think they'll take a call on that in the morning. I mean, I'm not, to be honest, I'm not qualified enough to say whether they should go ahead with that. I wish I was, but I'm not qualified enough to say that. I think two spinners plus Raina and a little bit of Kohli is actually enough. But unless the track is really dry. See, even New Zealand used 3, but New Zealand played 2 spinners, both of them flat, and got 10 out of a batsman. So India could get 7-8 out of Raina if it comes to that. I think playing 3 spinners might be a bit of a luxury with the new rules with only 4 fielders outside.
Okay, so my second follow-up question is also similar. Like we have three pace bowlers. All three of them are operating on a similar style, as in all of them are right arm medium pace or right arm medium fast. So my question is, why not rest one of Umesh or Ishan and play Irfan Pathan? Maybe that might help, or it might give in a different angle, or it might upset the batsman, or it might give Dhoni another option. Would you look at that, like playing
I
Irfan
think you
Pathan?
play. I think you play your three best bowlers, and if third and fourth are almost similar, then you look at the variety. But your first choice always to play the three best bowlers, and I think in current conditions these are our three best bowlers.
Okay,
So I think
and yeah, okay. And there was another concern, like from an Indian batting perspective.
I'll tell you one other thing. In
Yeah,
India, we love being concerned, and we love being pessimistic, and we love thinking about what is wrong. Maybe it's to do with our political environment. I don't know.
yeah, like the kind of atmosphere perhaps here has to do with it. Like we are always fed with negative thoughts and
I mean,
from the media
I've
as well. And
uh, don't listen too much to the media anyway. But listen, I've been sitting in a commentary box with David Lloyd, with Michael Vaughan, all these people, and the world is looking at India's batting. Whereas we are concerned with what is wrong, the
bowling.
world is looking at India's batting and they're saying, where did you get this Dhawan from? They're saying, wow, where's this Rohit Sharma got his renaissance from? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of good things happening on the playing side of our cricket.
Correct, correct. So my third question is like I was wondering whether Suresh Raina needs to get some time to bat. Like seriously, even in the warm-up games, he wasn't able to bat for an extended period of time, and also during the both the matches, Suresh Raina wasn't able to get some time in the middle. So would it be a good thing to promote him versus Pakistan and try him out, like to give him a better opportunity of the conditions before the semi-finals?
I don't know. I'm not sure that Dhoni is a great fan of changing too many things around. Maybe if there's 15 minutes left, if it's a dasher, he might send him out. But I believe Raina is fine at number 6. I don't think he'll change the batting order too much just because you've already qualified. Because they want in a 5 match tournament, you want a settled batting order.
Correct. So, do you foresee India making any changes for tomorrow's game, like
No.
in general, or same
No,
the same?
unless someone is injured. No. A side that doesn't need to make changes is inherently a good side.
Yeah, true. And the winning side as well, at
Well,
least here.
hopefully.
Like,
Hopefully.
hopefully it continues. All right. Thank you, Harsha.
Pleasure.
Aditya, it looks like you've been following the game and the Champions Trophy like a hawk. So you can see from the questions coming in. Going to move next to Anurag. Aditya, thanks a lot for your questions. Going to move next to Anurag.
Thank you.
And Anurag, if you could, what have you got for Harsha? What have you cooked up for Harsha?
Hi.
Hi, Anurag.
I want to ask about the opening pair, which is I think the recent performance that have been done by Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma. I think they have performed very well in England condition also, and they have shown that they can bat well in Indian condition also. So do you think they are a long-term opener for Indian team right now in limited overs cricket?
Tough to say with Rohit just yet. Certainly, all the indicators are there. Shikhar Dhawan's been a career opener, so that's not something we need to worry about. He'll be the opener. I mean, his last 3 international innings have been centuries. He starts like that, so Shikhar Dhawan will be fine. He also seems to he seems to like pace bowling. Beyond a point, nobody likes it, but he's not phased by it. So there's some good signs there. Rohit Sharma is looking all right. I mean, who knows? This might just be. Like what happened to Sehwag, he might just discover himself as an opening batsman. I think if you want to make Rohit Sharma a long-term opener, then you must give him 7-8 games and say, right, 7-8 games, just feel your way around. But I think the signs are very good, yes.
And the other thing I want to ask is about the Hindi commentary. I think I like the way you are hosting the show in Hindi. And I think if you go in small towns and cities of India, like here in Patna also, people like regularly watching the show in Hindi. So how do you see the Hindi commentary or Hindi show being able to promote this game in smaller towns and cities?
Not just Hindi. I've long said that the Hindi-speaking India and the Tamil-speaking India and the Bengali-speaking India and the Marathi-speaking India is much bigger than the English-speaking India. For a long time, English has been a tradition. It's the language of cricket in India by default has been English and will continue to be that way. It's a beautiful language. Most people understand it. But if you want to take Indian cricket all the way into the interiors, then you have to go into languages, and you've got to have interesting people in languages. If you've got boring people putting you to sleep in their language, then you're not doing the game any good. So I'm not. It's not only English. It's not only Hindi. Just watch out. Soon you'll have Bengali. You'll have Tamil. You'll have Telugu. You'll find that wherever English and Hindi does not serve your purpose, you will go into regional languages. So I won't be surprised if Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada. Why not? Why not?
And just there, Anurag, for you and for everyone tuned into this hangout, Castrol's had a fantastic initiative where they've taken the perimeter boards of the games and they're relaying all your messages. If you tweet with the hashtag King on.
Actually, to be fair, Harshit, I saw those. I was sitting in the commentary box and I suddenly saw this message coming across on that LED board, and I said, "Wow, that's a new one." And it turned out to be a Castrol message.
Yeah.
So I actually saw those on the LED boards.
Yeah. And for tomorrow's game, you are going to have the opportunity to tweet in Hindi. So Anurag, if you want to send a message to Dhoni and Shikhar Dhawan and the rest of the Pakistan team, then do send it in Hindi because
this is यार मुझे ये बताना लेकिन स्क्रिप्ट में आएगा या अंग्रेजी स्क्रिप्ट में आएगा?
नहीं, देवनागरी स्क्रिप्ट में आएगा।
क्या बात है, तो अगर सईद अजमल लॉन्ग लेग पे हो तो उनको आइडिया ही नहीं आएगा कि क्या बोल रहे हैं आप।
अगर
ज़बानी बोलो तो समझ जाए, लेकिन अगर स्क्रिप्ट में आए तो बिल्कुल नहीं समझेंगे।
So yeah, I mean that's the next I think bang on. Harsha said that Hindi is the bigger language, and it's going to be interesting to see those tweets tomorrow, and we hope some of you can send those tweets forward. Harsha,
I hope it doesn't sound like a plug. I mean, this is a Castrol initiative, but I'll tell you what, if I was a kid and I had, or a kid or a young man, and I had a thought on the game and it came up on an LED board on the Champions Trophy, I'd be walking 6 inches high for the next 6 months.
It's fantastic. I think some of the people, I think there's a few messages coming in. So Harsha, actually for you, some of the people who are tweeting in, just some, there's Bhuvan Kumar who says, Harsha, you made my evening. There's already, Kishan's sister whose evening has been made. Bhuvan's tweeted saying that you made his evening. So I think your change in commentary has got you quite a few fans, and they're loving what you're doing.
So what will they do if Amir Khan appears on this?
That's it's worth looking out for.
Maybe.
Okay.
Good.
I'm gonna jump to Samya next, and let him see. Let him come back with a question.
Hi, Harsha.
Hi.
Harsha, I had one specific question related to the DRS system. Well, we have seen that quite a few decisions have been reversed in this current series pertaining to the DRS system, and we have also seen to some extent they have been allergic towards this system. What could be the reason to it? Is it undermining the importance of an umpire, an on-field umpire, or is it that it's completely a different aspect to the game, bringing technology into it? What is your views on it?
I'm glad you asked that. Can everybody on the hangout hear the question? Can everyone hear the question, Harsha? Everyone can. Brilliant. There's 2-3 things about that. One is that there is an old-fashioned view that says, look, the man with the authority is the umpire, and you cannot undermine the umpire's authority. But the interesting thing about the DRS is that the umpires are happy with it. The umpires are happy to reverse a decision, because I think the best umpires would be happy to have DRS and show that they're actually much better than other umpires. So that is not an issue. I think one of the problems India's had with DRS is the fear that the decision making is going away from the man in the middle to the man sitting in a truck, where the replays are put together. So the person in the truck decides how many replays you put out. So they're saying we want that to be foolproof. We want to be certain that the ball projection is 100% accurate. And now the ball projection is a direct function of the strength of the cameras. The greater the resolution of the cameras, the more intermediate paths you get. I mean, if some of you would have studied drawn simple curves in physics or mathematics, the more lines, the more points you have, the sharper your curve. So if you only have 2 points, you can draw a straight line and your curve won't be right. But if you have 4 or 5 points, then the projected path is correct. So if the resolution of the cameras is very good, then the ball projection is going to be that much better. And for in this year's tournament, they're using very high resolution cameras. But one of the issues with that, therefore, is if England versus Australia, you use high resolution cameras and the batsmen or the bowlers there have access to the best technology. But Bangladesh versus Zimbabwe, you don't use the same high resolution cameras. So it means that a Bangladesh or Zimbabwe wicket doesn't have the same value as an England or an Australia wicket because the production budgets there are much smaller. So people are saying, make it uniform, have the same technology available everywhere, and then let's go ahead with the DRS. I think we're actually much closer to DRS being implemented, but the ICC has to be very careful to see that the same technology is used in every single international match played everywhere. Otherwise, a batsman from Bangladesh will say, hang on, I got an inside edge, and that is not reversed. Whereas in an England-South Africa series, a batsman gets an inside edge and gets reversed. So there's a couple of those issues still there, but as technology improves, as the quality of the cameras improve, DRS will become better.
Yes, I think it's a fantastic insight. I think what we should do is just take that clipping out and put it up on YouTube and put it up for everybody to watch.
But the ICC is aware of that. The ICC is aware of that. In fact, the ICC invited all of us before the start of the Champions Trophy to explain to us what the hotspot can do and what the hotspot cannot do. For example, sometimes you might get an edge and the hotspot may not reflect that because the light might be too bright or the light might be at a certain angle. But if there is a mark on the hotspot, then definitely there is an edge. So it could err on not getting a mark, but if there is a mark, you're definitely out. So they've explained all that, and I think we're getting there. I think that we need to leave egos aside and look at DRS from a purely technical cricketing point of view. And if that happens, I don't think a resolution is too far.
I would also like to pitch in with one more point. Is that, I mean, do you think that the trajectory of the ball is correctly measured by whatever trajectory it shows through the DRS system? I mean, it may be that the ball is turning a lot after pitching. It's not really depicting a lot. Maybe it's missing the leg stump, but it's showing that it's crashing into it. Is it foolproof to any extent?
That can only happen if there's not enough points on the ball projection curve. So if you've got cameras with very high resolution, you get a lot of intermediate points and you can project that better.
Okay.
Earlier, one of the problems with DRS was that if the ball hit the bounce too close to the pad, then there wasn't enough distance to cover to project the path of the ball. Now, as the cameras get better, you're able to do that better. But that was traditionally that was one of the problems with ball projection. So it'll all depend on the cameras getting better. If you remember in the World Cup of 2011, there were a lot of issues with DRS. So now they're all getting resolved.
Okay.
Okay, Harsha,
thanks a lot, yeah.
Thank you so much, Samir. Harsha, there's a question coming in from Twitter. Sahil has an interesting, sort of observation. He says that, if you look at the last Champions Trophy and if you look at the Champions Trophies of the past or the World Cups in the past, in the recent past, you had a clear favorite. So everybody said Australia was, is going to win this. Australia is going to take this home. And he says that cricket has changed in the last few years. So you've obviously been watching this with a very close eye. And how has the game evolved in the last couple of years from the last World Cup till this Champions Trophy? And where are we heading with cricket?
I think 2 or 3 things have changed. One is that batsmen are playing bolder shots the moment they trust the wicket. The moment they think this wicket can be trustworthy, they're hitting through the line, they're hitting in the air. They're also backing themselves to score a lot of runs at the end. In fact, I thought one of the most glaring examples of that was the warm-up game that India played. Who was that against? India were 122 for 5 in the first 30 overs and hit 186 in the last 20 to finish with 308. Now, in an earlier era, you might not have backed yourself to score that many. But this is the effect of the IPL, for example, or any T20 cricket, not just IPL, but T20 cricket that we're starting to see, in that people know that if I have wickets in hand, I can score 9 and over. So 9 and over doesn't scare them anymore. And as a result, because of the ability to score a lot of runs on the back end, they're willing to play slowly up front and protect wickets. So in a sense, the arrival of T20 is taking in the limited overs cricket back to how it used to be played. Safety first, keep wickets, and hit at the end. So we're seeing a lot of that. I mean, I won't be surprised if very soon the thumb rule of doubling the score after 30 overs changes to doubling the score after 35, 36.
Interesting. Okay.
But the stats we will have to work out the numbers on that. This is just
Right.
just a hypothesis. We don't have enough numbers to prove that right or otherwise.
Sure. Swarna, we've got Swarna, and she's got a question for you, Harsha. So Swarna, if you can
Swarna,
share
are
a
you on
question with
Twitter
us.
as well? Are you on Twitter as well, Swarna?
Yes, sir.
I thought so. Have you been tweeting to me?
Yes, sir. Actually, you had tweeted that the hangout was supposed to be at 7 in the evening.
I know. Trust me. I'm not as good as these Castrol guys. It was 7:30, and I said it was supposed to be 7:30, and I thought it was 7. But you know why I said it was 7? Because they knew I might be slightly late, so they kept a half hour in reserve over there.
So there was a situation of ambiguity, and it was like the first time, and I was almost chickening out. How is it supposed to be? But
Swarna, we hope
then
you've enjoyed
hopefully-
it so far. We hope you've enjoyed it so far.
Yes, I'm having a very good time here.
You don't have any project, any submission tomorrow morning, no?
No, sir. I'm having the vacations right now.
What fun! Huh.
And you know
Okay,
what
what's your
better
question?
way to
Yeah.
what better way to spend your vacations rather than talking with one of the most intelligent commentators India ever possessed?
No, intelligence is overrated. But anyway, tell me.
Yes, sir. You have partnered with many commentators all through your career. So, whom do you enjoy commentating with the most, and particularly why so?
I learned very early in life never ever to answer that question. So ask me another, because nobody can ever be happy answering that question. I made at one point I answered that in all good faith. I answered what kind of people I like working with, and it didn't go down too well. So I'm not going to go down that path.
But still, we being
It's like
spectators
asking.
can.
Yeah, but can you ask Rahul Dravid, do you like batting with Tendulkar more or Ganguly?
Yes, but at least he'll come with some sort of an answer. So you can dodge that.
See, you people are bold early in life.
If that's an encomium, then thank you, sir.
And I can see that you're studying English. You like big words. Good.
Yes,
Excellent.
you know that writing
So ask me
the
something else.
articles.
Ask me. Okay, I'll tell you what. I like working with commentators who are provocative. I like working with commentators who question you, who have strong points of view, who are not afraid to have a different point of view with you on air. Because when that happens, then you have to be better prepared. And I mean, it happened to me the other day. I mean, I've known Michael Holding for a very long time. We were in commentary together, and I was saying something, and he had a completely different point of view. But he didn't try to say, "Oh my God, this guy said something, so let me be nice to him." He said, "No, I have a different point of view." So when you work with people like that, you've got to be very sure of your own point of view. So I like working with people who are straight, direct, upfront, even if they're provocative. That's fine.
Okay, so you're not naming anyone, right? Now I have another question.
Yeah, go on.
About tomorrow's game, Swarna?
Sorry?
About tomorrow's game? Anything about tomorrow's game?
Not about tomorrow's game. You know,
But you
and India
okay.
versus Pakistan. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
no, go on, Swarna, go on. I'll say something after your question. I don't want to interrupt you.
And India versus Pakistan is when we are at our patriotic best. So, you know, even if the match is a low-key one, it just can't be a dead rubber. You know, I was going through a lot of tweets, and I was reading that since Pakistan is out of the tournament and India is actually already in the semi-finals, so the India versus Pakistan encounter is not going to be so important.
It's
But
not
you know,
going to be
being a
important,
cricket
Swarna.
fan,
It's not going to be important from the point of view of qualification, but don't let yourself be conned into thinking that the players who play that game will play it any differently. They will play it with the same intensity, with the same vigor, with the same determination. It will be a cricket match like any other cricket match. Don't worry.
Right. So, sir, can I now come straight forward to the question that I have in mind?
Oh, sorry. Of course.
Yes, I wanted to ask you that you come from a non-cricketing background, right?
Well, it depends on how you define a cricketing background, but go on.
No, but I believe you are an IIM pass out.
Yes, I did well to pass out actually. There were times when I wasn't sure I would.
But you managed.
I managed, skin of the teeth sometimes, rather more easily sometimes, but yeah, I managed.
Right. So, was it difficult, being a commentator, pursuing commentating as your career?
Not
I think
really.
she's got career aspirations.
No, but times have
Yeah, you
changed
can
from
you
the
can
time.
say so.
No, times have changed from when I started. These days, for some reason, people seem to look at people who've played the game and work on the assumption that if you've played the game, you'll find the best adjective, you'll find the best camera angle, you'll find the best turn of phrase, which may not always be true. There's a huge advantage if you've played the game, but if you haven't, it doesn't. You can't do it anymore. But if I had to start out again, I would not get a single first-class game to do. So that tells you how difficult it is now. But the world has changed in many other ways.
So if I being a girl,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
you go on.
Don't let it come in the way. Write about cricket, and if you can write about cricket coherently, if you enjoy the language, someone will notice you. It is the best time in independent India to be young and have a point of view.
So if I being a girl want to take up cricket commentating as a career, do I have a future in that?
I would recommend that you want to become a television anchor or a reporter or a journalist, because in commentary at the moment, I think opportunities will be limited, but you never know where the world is headed. By the time you become old enough and experienced enough, the world might have changed beyond compare. You might be able to sit at home on a Google Hangout like this and do your own commentary and have your own followers following you like you do on Twitter. No one knows where the world is going. But I hope the world moves towards a meritocracy.
All right, sir. So I'm.
Excellent.
Sana, we'd love for you to
Yes,
be.
sir. So I've got
with,
my answer.
Yeah, write blogs.
Yeah, we'd love for you to write on castrolcricket.com. It's a fantastic website. Harsha also writes on it, and we'd love for you to write on it as well. We'd
Oh,
definitely
sure.
reach out
That
to you
would
for
be a
that.
pleasure.
Okay, now Swarna, here's an assignment for you. You've got holidays, right?
Yes, sir.
So
Right,
in our business, we have a lot of deadlines. So if an article has to be done by 3:30 on Thursday, it has to be done by 3:30 on Thursday. If you're going on air 9:30 in the morning, you're 9:30 in the morning. So your deadline to send the article to castrolcricket.com is tomorrow evening 7:45 p.m.
And the topic of that article?
You seem a free-spirited girl. Pick your topic.
All right.
Okay, I'll give you another topic. As soon as the match gets over, write 400 words on the India versus Pakistan game in the Champions Trophy.
Sure.
Okay? 400 words. 400
Yes,
means
sir.
you can go between 375 and 425, but not more than that.
Right, sir.
Okay, we'll look forward to it.
Thank you, sir.
If I was in your place, I'd be dancing and doing double somersaults at the opportunity.
So
Okay.
I'll be doing the same just after the hangout.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, there's a question from
Yeah.
Dharmesh Kalwani. Interesting question on Twitter. He says, why not involve Ireland and other high potential teams into competitions like the ICC Champions Trophy?
Because then it becomes a World Cup. The World Cup, everyone's got an opportunity. There's going to be 16 teams in the next World T20, 12 teams in the next World Cup. I think last I heard, was it 14? I don't remember now. So the Champions Trophy is a small, compact tournament, and I think its great its great attraction lies in it in being what it is, where every game is important, every game is competitive. It's a small tournament. We're all actually, a lot of us came here thinking this is going to be the last Champions Trophy, but a lot of us are very inclined to tell the ICC we'd like many more of these. So I think this tournament it's a nice one. Let's leave it alone.
Okay, just a few more tweets coming again. Messages for you, Harsha. It says Prasad Khomne says that Hangout with Harsha is another treat for its fans, and to interact with such a commentary giant of India is indeed a true pleasure.
You know why they send these tweets, don't you, Arshil? You know why they send these tweets, don't you? All the nice tweets get read out.
Yeah, I mean, but fair enough. But I think they're good messages. They're coming. I think it's pretty genuine. He's been tweeting.
Okay.
He's been tweeting a lot. And then
Thanks,
there's
Prasad.
Marcus. He says, team, please, with a capital P. Next time you have a hangout with Harsha, please inform me. Man, how did I miss this one? So there's a lot of people, sort of who've not got an opportunity to sit and ask you a question in person.
Okay.
But
let's ask Castro if we can make it a regular.
Yeah, sure. So next we have, we're going to come back to we're going to come back to Kishan Jot's sister. And
Hi, Harsha.
You're not Kishan Jot's sister. Tell me your name again. You told me last time I don't. Sister.
Jaspreet.
Jaspreet, of course, Jaspreet. Yes, Jaspreet.
Your favorite Indian batsman and bowler?
Sorry, my favorite Indian batsman and bowler. Is that what you asked?
Yes.
Many. I've been very lucky to see some brilliant batsmen. I grew up virtually idolizing Gavaskar and Vishwanath. When they got out, I switched off the radio. Radio, of course. You guys know what radio means? You know that little box, the little thing over there. You know what radio is?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I used to switch that off, and then I got initiated into. I followed Tendulkar, Ganguly, Lakshman, Dravid, Sehwag. It's a great time to be in batsmanship. I don't want to pick one, because I mean Tendulkar has given me enormous amount of joy. I knew him since he was 14, and it's great to see a career like that evolve in front of you. It's like a galaxy opening up in front of you. So that was a fantastic journey for me just to see it happen. But I've also seen the same thing happen with Dravid and Lakshman and Ganguly. To slightly lesser extent with Sehwag, but I've seen it with these four. So I think that was a great era. So if I had to pick two, I'd pick Tendulkar and Dravid. Bowler, I'm very clear. I'm very clear. I've been a huge fan of Anil Kumble over the years. I think Anil Kumble is a great inspiration to a lot of people on what determination, hard work can do, and how to maximize your talent. And he was so aggressive, always positive. He was. There's lots of qualities about Anil Kumble that I liked.
Great. Coming back to Anand now. Anand, you said you had a question in the second round, so just going to come back to you and see if you've got something for Harsha.
He's been sitting quietly there, second from left on my list on people below here. Go on, Anand. Have I lost something here?
Okay, Anand seems to not be able to hear us. So I'm going to move to Aditya then. And let Aditya take his question, because even he had a question for you in the second round.
Sure, Aditya.
Yeah, hi Harsha. So I just wanted to ask you.
First of all, well done, Aditya. I noticed you corrected the typo. Otherwise, you tweeted to the wrong ID.
Yeah, thank you. So, my question is, for example, the pitches. Who has actually decided on the kind of pitches which are used for the Champions Trophy? This has been a big surprise to everyone, because we all expected sort of green tops or something which will aid fast bowlers with two new balls and all, but we've got something different.
Yeah, no idea. It's a local groundsman that decides the surface. He has to make the best of what he has. And at the moment, they're very dry. I wonder if some of these are going to be used for the test matches, and that they followed Australia and India being suspect against spin bowling. So maybe they want to have drier surfaces against Australia. Who knows? Actually, listen, I've got a question for all you guys. I thought India versus Pakistan tomorrow would be flooding me with questions about India versus Pakistan.
Perhaps all of us are a bit confident that we'll win. So.
Yeah. Actually,
yeah.
To be very, very honest, I think 1 week is a long time in one's life. 2 matches down, I think we are not looking at India-Pakistan anymore. We are actually looking at India bringing the Champions Trophy back home. I think everybody's sanguine about it, that okay, this is one more match which we'll get away, because the big picture is the finals, and that's where we're winning.
It's the one thing Dhoni doesn't have. I mean, if you look at Dhoni, you look at a Mourinho and you say he's got so many Premiership titles, so many European titles, so many La Liga titles. Look at Dhoni from that point of view. Dhoni's won a 50-over World Cup, he's won a 20-over World Cup, he's won 2 IPLs, he's won a Champions League, he's had a world #1 ICC ranking in ODIs, world #1 ICC ranking in Test matches. This is the one thing he doesn't have. So maybe this is going to be his. Who knows?
Signs,
but keep your expectations low. keep your expectations low. My one tip to people following India is keep your expectations a little low. You'll enjoy it.
Okay, the question I wanted to ask you, Harsha, is regarding this news story which I was reading about Gautam Gambhir, hiring the services of W.V. Raman as a private coach. Do you think this is a phenomenon which we are to see more and more as the game
Could well be.
progresses in this country?
Could well be. I think Robin Uthappa uses Praveen Amre as a private coach as well. So maybe if he thinks that a particular player understands his batting very well, then it's like having a personal physician. A personal physician knows every aspect of your body. So if something goes wrong, he or she is best placed to correct that. So if it works for him, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, as long as Raman doesn't become a selector and picks Gambhir. But otherwise, it's absolutely fine.
One last small help, Harsha.
If I can.
Swarna is my tweet pal. We have never met each other before. Through your services.
Where are you headed, Anand? Where are you headed, Anand? Where are you headed?
No, she's a kid and a very lovely child actually. So I just want to say hello to her. We never had this opportunity to say it face to face earlier. Hi, Swarna. I hope.
Hello.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
So Anand,
Swarna's
going to send. No, Swarna's going to send 400 words, right? That's you, Swarna, right? You're going to send 400 words tomorrow after the India-Pakistan game. So why don't Anand, you also send 400 words on that game, and we'll put the two side by side and see who's better.
Absolutely. I would love to do it, and I'm sure Swarna will do a much better job than I can ever hope to.
Excellent.
No. You're not.
Harsha, last couple of questions for you. Actually, I'm going to go back to the game. And you mentioned at the start of the hangout that it's going to be. You think it's going to be a high-scoring game. So
I don't know if it will. I don't know if it will, but I won't be surprised if it will. A high-scoring game might favor India. But I'll tell you what. Let me just ask. Can you just draw the curtains and let's see if it's still raining outside? It's been raining in Birmingham. Bright sunshine. When I came into the hangout, it was raining. I jumped out of the car and came running in, and everyone in Castrol was worried I might slip on the wet pavements. But it's bright and sunny just now. I hope it stays that way.
Unpredictability of the English weather. Huh?
Yeah, a bit like India's batting, but it's looking better than that. Yeah.
So what do you think? I mean, the question is, what do you think will be the score for the side batting first? I know you said that you don't know, but I mean, a calculated guess according to you.
If I knew and I kept getting it right, I'd start meeting a lot of the wrong kind of people. So I don't know, but we'll take a look at it tomorrow. I think though the key to this game will be how Pakistan look at the situation. Do they say, "Yeah, we've lost 2, and if we lose 1 more, then we'll get hammered by people back home in India"? And will they play with that kind of pressure? Or will they say, you know what a great opportunity for us. If we win this one, then people will forget the truth that we've lost. So come, let's go out and play. So if Pakistan are positive, we'll get a different kind of match. If Pakistan are waiting for the game to end, then they'll be easier to beat.
Okay, and everybody's talking about the Indian team. Can we spend a little time on the Pakistani team? What's your reading of their team, and where do you think their strengths and weaknesses lie? What do you think they'll be changing around? You said India's not going to change too much. Do you think Pakistan's going to change a few things? And if yes, then what?
They're not getting starts. Mohammad Hafiz has been a key player for them, and he's not scoring runs. Shoaib Malik hasn't scored runs for them for a very long time, and Imran Farhat is not scoring runs for them either now. When 3 of your if your top 5 or 6 are struggling, then you're in trouble. And it doesn't help that Misbah comes in at number 5 and then takes a long time to score his runs. If you look at the breakup of Misbah's runs, you'll find that the second 50 is significantly quicker than the first, if he does get that many. But if you're coming in at 30 for 3, 35 for 3, and then you're taking the if you're taking the asking rate, if you're batting second to 9, then there's a problem. I think if Misbah is the batsman in form, then he has to bat number 3, so that if he takes time, at least he's around for much longer. But the batting is a serious concern for them. But they are by some distance the best bowling side in this tournament. I thought England and Pakistan were the 2 strong bowling sides, but I noticed yesterday against Sri Lanka that when the ball stopped swinging, England didn't look a great bowling side. So I've no doubt at all that Pakistan is by some distance the best bowling side in this tournament.
Okay, and you've spoken to us about the weather. Talk a little bit to us about the atmosphere in Birmingham. Is it heating up? Do you see a lot of people on the streets looking forward to the game?
To be honest, I've just come in at the moment, so I wouldn't know. But having been to Birmingham before and having seen the atmosphere when Pakistan last played a game, there would have been the Pakistan South Africa game. You can be absolutely certain that there will be no shortage of atmosphere. There'll be people screaming their lungs off. They call it the Stani Army, the Pakistan supporters, and they're very loyal. I know at the moment they're not very happy, but they're still very loyal. So you'll see and hear a huge Pakistan contingent. My gut feel is it'll be 60-40 in terms of Pakistan to India in terms of ground support. But we'll wait and see.
Okay, great. I'm just going to keep one last question. If you've got a question, do raise your hand, and I'll come to you. Okay, so I've got 2 hands raised. I'm going to take Harsha. Can I take both the questions?
Two. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I'll take both these questions. Go first to Anurag and then back to Aditya. Anurag, you'll have to speak up.
Okay, I would like to talk about Champions Trophy. This is the last edition. I think the way I think some teams play tri-series, like India, South Africa, Sri Lanka, West Indies playing one tri-series here, and Sri Lanka, then again some other 3 teams playing tri-series. Instead of that, I think if Champions Trophy could be continued, like if we can have time for tri-series, why can't we have time for Champions Trophy once in 2 years? Like we don't play tri-series, instead of that we play Champions Trophy, which we have all the 16.
Yeah, because with tri-series, you only need to look at the calendars of 3 countries. In a Champions Trophy, you've got to look at the calendar of 8 countries. And so you need to fix that in the calendar much earlier. Now, you've got an ICC World T20 that comes every 2 years. You've got an ICC World Cup that comes every 4 years. They're now looking to build in an ICC World Test Championship. Then it becomes too many tournaments. So that is why they're saying this might be the last ICC Champions Trophy. But I won't be surprised if it isn't the last. I'm not sure that television companies around the world are very excited about the World Test Championship. Romantics are, some cricket boards are, some hardcore cricket lovers are. I'm not sure television channels are as excited about it. So we'll have to wait and see. But since coming here to England, I'm speaking to a lot of people, and everyone seems to like the idea. So maybe we'll have another. But as of now, it's meant to be the last. But you never know.
Okay, and last question for the evening. Moving back to you, Aditya. Last question for the evening.
Yeah, hi Harsha. So see, I just drew parallels to this team with the team which went to the World T20 in 2007, as well as the team which was selected for the CB series in 2008 in Australia. Like not many people gave us a chance for both of those tournaments as well. To be honest, like there was a huge hue and cry that Lakshman and Dravid and Ganguly were dropped from the ODI team back then as well. So, do you feel that somehow the less expectation or less pressure on the Indian team helps them to, perform better? So, is that something, like the burden of expectations, or metaphorically speaking, the hopes of a billion is not there anymore? So does that help the Indian team to, perform better, or is it with Dhoni handling the youngsters better? So what is your take on this?
I'll answer that in just a moment. First of all, Kishan Jodha, are you enjoying taking those pictures? You enjoying taking those pictures, Anju?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Let me answer Aditya's question. I think when you pick these youngsters and throw them in, you're actually giving them the opportunity of a lifetime. And the question is whether they're ready to take the opportunity or no. And sometimes opportunity meets ability. That's actually the tagline of the IPL, where talent meets opportunity. And I think the examples that you gave were examples of people who took the opportunity and flowered as cricketers. But if you don't give them the opportunity, you'll never know how good they were. For example, I mean, to be fair, Shikhar Dhawan wasn't scoring all those runs 3-4 years back, but you don't know how he would have become if you had given him a go. You don't know. I mean, Gautam Gambhir looked a fantastic player then. He's just a little short of runs. He's still a very, very good player, but he's just a little short of runs. But you'd never have guessed that. So I think it's just a question of picking people at the right time. It seems that Rohit Sharma has been given the opportunity at the right time. It seems that Shikhar Dhawan's been given the opportunity at the right time. So it's all a question of giving people the opportunity at the right time. And sometimes expectations can bury people. Some people are very good at playing with expectations on their shoulders. Some people are very happy playing underdogs. you'll find that some captains are going out of the way to say we are underdogs. Some captains like to be seen as favorites. So I think it's just it's an individual question. But in batting in India, there's a lot of people waiting to get the chance. Did I just take too many words to answer a simple question?
Not really. It was comprehensive as an answer. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, thanks guys. Thanks everyone for your time, and thank you Harsha very much for your time.
Yeah, thanks. Everyone was way too polite. I was expecting someone to come hard at me. I was expecting some really tough questions. Everyone's very nice and polite and kind, which is exactly how they aren't on Twitter. So maybe next time we do a hangout, let's have. I'm expecting slightly tougher questions.
Yes, thanks a lot, Harsha, and thanks for helping us all cling on to cricket. And much smoother experience this time around. Yeah, second time.
Yes, maybe the next time will be even better.
Awesome. Thanks so much, and enjoy the game.
Thanks, guys, for joining in. And the two of you are going to write 400 words. It's a deadline, so it's your first entry into journalism. Deadlines are sacrosanct.
He's waving his hand.
Okay, excellent.
For me, writing is a hobby, Harsha. I already work, but I'll still write that 400 words, and
it's much easier. It's much easier when it's a hobby. It's far more difficult when you have to do it.
Sir, there's just one request.
Yeah.
I have a cricketing.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I have a cricketing blog, so I like to share that with you on Twitter.
Yeah, sure. Send it to me on Twitter.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Harsha. See you.
Pleasure. See you guys.
Thanks, Harsha.
Match tomorrow.
Thanks, Harsha.
Cheers for
Watch out for the LED boards.
Yeah. We'll be.
Yes.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you once again.
Good night.